Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Hello, I can.
Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. Yeah. Well, yeah. No, thanks for doing this. Have you done any kind of sort of Zoom stuff like this yet, or is this the first?
Really? No, I was really interested to do this because, yeah, like I say, it's something new, so why not?
Awesome. Well, yeah. Look, I mean, I've kind of looked at doing it. I think with future ones as well, we're probably going to start moving and doing some in the studio. But these kind of just started up as it started up during lockdown as well. So it just kind of naturally started as a Zoom chat. Um,
Yeah.
and it kind of makes it easy, to be fair. I mean, I think we will do some studio, but it does make it easier to just sort of wherever people are. I mean, we did one with the last one we did was T did it with Sasha. Yeah, I think it's Sasha, and she was in Mexico.
Oh,
Um,
man.
so she did that on a phone. So yeah, it's kind of one of those cool things you can just kind of do from anywhere, really. So I think the Zoom stuff does
Yeah,
really work.
yeah, yeah, for
Um,
sure.
but yeah, just to give you a bit of an insight, yeah. So we've started. It's called in conversation. It's just a kind of chance to sort of we chat to photographers, models, stylists, makeup artists, and it's just a chance to kind of the big bit really is to get to kind of know beyond some of the images we're going to go through,
hmm
and just to kind of talk about some of them kind of like how they'll kind of sell, how the ideas behind it, and then stuff
Yeah.
from your side about just a little bit about your background as well, like kind of how you got into it and everything like that. Um,
Okay, that sounds good.
so we can start with that basically. Yeah. So start from the beginning. So how did you get started in modeling?
So basically, so acting is kind of like my main forte, I suppose. So I've been acting since I was like 4 or 5 years old, and that was always the thing that I wanted to do. And I've also sort of done dance from a young age, and people always said like, "Oh, like you kind of have an interesting hair color, like maybe you should try modeling," because all this, I feel like all these things kind of go like hand in hand. Like if you're a singer, they say, "Oh, try acting." Like if you're acting, like try
Hmm.
modeling. So yeah, I was really against doing it at first. I think there's such like a misconception of the industry, and like you see all this stuff online, and I just thought, no, like it's not for me. And I avoided sort of doing it for a while. But yeah, like it was just one of them things where I thought, well, maybe through acting through modeling I could get like more acting stuff. Maybe it would be like a good sort of support to that. So I applied to a couple of agencies in Manchester. Didn't hear back from some of them. And then I applied to Jador, who I'm signed to now. And yeah, it just kind of happened really fast. Like it was never something I planned on actually doing. Just sort of applied on a bit of a whim. And I was only 16 at the time. So I've been with them like nearly 5 years now, which is mad.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I applied just like, I think it was like a Friday afternoon, and they emailed me back within the hour, I think, and they were like, "Oh, can you come for casting on Monday?" And I was like, "I've got school." I was like, "I don't know what to do now." I was like, I wasn't expecting to actually get a reply. So yeah, I missed school to go to their casting, and then yeah, I got signed. It literally happened so fast. I honestly couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
So.
How did you did you just kind of Google sort of agencies in Manchester, or how did you kind of find them?
Well, initially, yeah, because I hadn't heard of Jador. It was mainly like um, I think they were fairly new at the time. I think they'd only been around for like 3 years. So some of the sort of more well-known agencies were the ones that I went to first.
Hmm.
And then I think it was my brother saw one of the Adafe twins, if you know Jordan and Jonah. One of those is like friends with my brother's best friend, and we saw him in a window. Um, of a shop, and he was like, "Oh, like that's my mate. Like I wonder who he's signed with." And they were signed to Jador at the time, so that's kind of how I found out about them. And funnily enough, one of my friends at the time signed with Jador like 2 days after I found out who they even were, and then the week after I signed with them. So it was weird.
I know you mentioned about the say the acting side of it as well. Um,
Hmm.
do you find there's like with the acting compared to the modeling, is there a difference of like how you kind of how you do it? How I mean, I was watching there's a chat with like Amber Valletta, the model, like she was talking about a kind of similar. She went into modeling, went from modeling to acting,
Hmm.
and she was kind of I was watching it the other day. And she was kind of saying about there is a difference of when you're sort of modeling, you're sort of posing for the camera and doing that, whereas acting's a bit more, you're kind of pretending that it's not there.
Yeah, I think there's a bigger difference than what people think. Like, it's definitely not as easy as what it's made out to be. Like you say, like, especially seeing as acting is all I've sort of trained for since I was born, like, I was always used to ignoring the camera, like the camera's not there, and then all of a sudden Jador would be like, look, okay, like look in the camera, and I'm like, this is so alien to me, like I'm supposed to pretend that it's not there. So yeah, like I've done a few little sort of commercial type things through Jador, where it's been like a little bit of acting, but again, it's very like showing off a product, or like it's less about you, it's more about like the concept of selling something, isn't it? So yeah, there's a massive difference, and it's more like, I think if I get anything sort of commercial wise through Jador, it's to do with like me, myself, and they want my personality and they want who you actually are, whereas obviously acting, it's a character and it's somebody different. So yeah, there's quite a contrast.
So yeah, with the modeling, it's a lot more bringing yourself to it. That's
100%. Yeah.
And then when you got started, did you get kind of much inspiration, say from the modeling side of things? Was who was your kind of, did you have much sort of inspiration from other, say, like models or anyone in the industry, or anyone not necessarily in the industry as well?
Initially, I just didn't know enough about it. Like, I probably wouldn't say, now I take inspiration from so many people, but when I started, I literally had no idea what I was doing, and I was just like, I don't know who does what I'm supposed to be doing. But now there's so many people I look up to. Like, I recently shot with, I say recently, it was actually a couple of months ago, but you know, it's Steph Smalls on Instagram.
Yeah.
Steph Smalls. I've always loved his style of photography. He was so sick, and he was one of my dream photographers. And I finally got a slot with him. He's literally so booked up all the time. So I finally shot with him, and yeah, love the images. He was such a sick guy. So I've always admired his work. And yeah, just like even other models signed to Jador, like I'm trying to think, like Ellis Hope, if you know who she is. She's got like platinum hair. Like, I just think she's so cool. Like, and I've met her so like a few times in person. She's so lovely. I'm trying to think who else. It's just various people like who put out different content, and I really admire people who really like have their own style and like have their own thing going on. I think that's really admirable. Like, again, like Ellis has such a clear like niche and style, and I just think she rocks her style and her look like so well, and that like inspires me to do the same. So yeah, loads of people.
Did that give you a chance, so when you were starting, say like with Jador, like say you kind of almost like chucked into it a bit, but did you get a chance to kind of meet some of the other models, like if you went in for some of the days at Jador or casting or anything, did that, and then that helps you kind of build up the confidence and then kind of see how they do things?
Yeah, you always meet people at castings, and I was quite lucky that I already knew a few people who were signed. So I don't know if you've met Charlie Morgan. He's got like long hair. He's from my hometown. We actually went to the same high school. I saw him at casting once, and I was like, oh, like a familiar face. And I was like, oh, hi, like, and he's friends with my brother as well. So it's a small world. But yeah, I feel like I'm quite, you know, I'm willing to get to know people. I think in this industry, like you work with a different team every time you shoot, don't you? So you kind of have to have the ability to be able to just sort of make friends with whoever. So going to castings is great because you just have like 5 minutes and then you're best friends with everybody.
That sort of stuff, really, especially in the industry as well. Like the more people you know, it does really help, and it builds confidence as well. Kind of having to go out and do that and meet new people definitely helps.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, we can dive into some of the images if you want.
Sure.
I don't know, have you got them there with you as well?
Yeah, I can get them up. Are we starting with the one in the yellow top?
So the first one I've got, actually, it's the one with the it's where your hair's blowing in the wind with the coat.
Oh yeah.
I think that I had a look. I think that was with Ashton's the photographer.
Yeah. That was shot quite a while ago, actually. He was so cool. He was the first, that was probably one of my first editorial shoots I'd done. And I didn't really know what to expect, but yeah, he was just like so quick and like on it. And like sometimes you shoot with people who, you know, like kind of have a few ideas, but then like it's more of like what do you call it, you know, you're both sort of working at the same time trying to figure out what you both want. Whereas I went, he was just like, okay, we're going to do this and this, and like yeah, that was really sick. That was in London as well, which is my favorite place ever, so any excuse to shoot down there is right up my street.
So where was that? So in London, was that, it's tricky to tell, was it a studio or was that outside?
Half the images we shot were in studio. That was actually outside. Honestly, I think it was just in front of some random like side street somewhere. But yeah, I wish it was more of an exciting like place, but it was actually sometimes like simple actually gives you the best images. So
well now, yeah, I was going to say, I mean, wherever it's in front of, it makes a nice backdrop. It does. I think it's that thing. It was hard to tell. I was trying to work out if it's studio or location, but I think especially with the light as well, it looks like sort of nice kind of natural light a bit. And I think the big thing from that image for me is definitely the sort of the movement with the hair.
yeah.
Is that, again, was that just something because you're outside and then the wind just caught it? And
Yeah, like I say, it was just completely just natural. Like it was just such a windy afternoon, and yeah, it worked in our favor clearly.
did you do the style and everything for it as well?
No, he just had like a clothing rack of loads of different items, and we just sort of tried a few different things on, and yeah, we did a few different looks, but that trench coat look was really cool because I felt like it was very like Zara type sort of style shot, which again is like something that I hadn't really done before, so that was well up my street because I've always wanted to do like editorial type shots. So yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah, I think it just looks so, with that outfit, looks so strong as well, and that sort of the look straight to the camera. The next image I was going to do is the one with that you shot. I think it's a recent one you did with DJ.
Yes, oh my gosh, love
So
that shoot.
yeah, so first of all, so what was DJ like? Because we've featured some of his work a few times.
Yeah, so I was actually surprised when I got there. So it's not just one, it's two photographers. So it's Dee and editor, and they're like a married couple. And they're just so fab. Like I went to their studio and they both walked in, they were like, hey, like that energy was just, it was just so good. And yeah, we had 3 looks overall for this shoot. And yeah, I knew that I was shooting in underwear for this, and I was like preparing myself because it's not really often that I shoot like those sort of style pictures. And yeah, like they just made me feel really confident, and that's always something that like helps you when you're on set. You know, they were both like just so lovely, and like I was really sort of unsure how it would work having 2 photographers. Like it's not really a typical thing, is it, where you go to shoot and like, oh, we're both going to be shooting you. So I was like, oh right, okay. And yeah, they both just like they were full of beans, full of ideas. And yeah, we decided to do like this cool wet hair look in their studio, and yeah, it was sick.
So how did it work with the two shoot? Was it kind of shooting at the same time, or they're jumping in and out?
Yeah, it kind of like they just sort of jumped in and out. Like I would do they both shot like for all 3 looks. They both had like just sort of took it in turns shooting, and yeah, like one of them would just sort of think, oh, like, hey, you did this angle, I might try it this way and things. So they both kind of had their own separate ideas, but it kind of worked together at the same time. It's kind of like they read each other's minds, I suppose. But yeah.
I think that helps them, as a couple as well, and they can they know what each other wants and what they're thinking. So
yeah, definitely.
would they give like kind of much direction, or was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, it was sort of a bit of both, really. They just sort of said, you know, like sort of do your own thing. I think a shoot always starts off with more direction coming from the photographer than anything, just so you can kind of get like a vibe of what they sort of want as well. But yeah, I think as you get more into it and you get more sort of on like the same wavelength, you can kind of like bounce off each other and get what you know everyone's sort of wanting from the shoot. So yeah, we did loads of like crazy angles for some of the other shots. And this one that you're showing us here was like in between, it was like I was like in between these two, you know, like I don't know what you call them,
The
where you block
polyboards.
the light out. Yeah,
Yeah.
those two boards, and I didn't really have a lot of room to move, so they were like you know when you want to do all these poses, but I was like I'm gonna knock something over, so I'm a bit limited, but yeah, we still ended up getting some cool shots, which
Well,
is
yeah, I
good.
think it helps. I mean, like the sort of the composition of it, it's just so nice. And I think even if you are feel a bit boxed in, it's so nice. It's just they've cropped it really well.
Yeah.
You mentioned about say like the underwear stuff as well. Is that something when you're shooting, do you find you have to kind of like pose in a different way or like build a bit more confidence or anything like that?
I don't know. It sort of depends depends what mood I'm in. Yeah, I never used to shoot things like that, especially, I mean, I was only 16 when I signed, so like if my dad caught me in a bikini at 16 doing a photo shoot, I think we would be having some problems. Yeah, like it's just one of them things, you get more into it and you just think like the industry is changing so much as well. And you just think, do you know what, like for your Polaroid shots as well, they're typically like in underwear anyway. So yeah, I just think you get more confident, and like the past year I've really been like working on the, you know, just like feeling good and like going to the gym and training, like properly training. And so it's nice to just sort of, if you're feeling good about yourself, you know, like why not, you know, show it off if
Yeah.
that's what you want to do. And like, yeah, I just think it helps you get some decent shots as well. So yeah, it
Yeah.
was good.
Well, I think yeah, definitely from the confidence side. I mean, you mentioned about the sort of gym and stuff as well. Is that something sort of is that yeah like a regular thing to sort of like keep in shape? Is it good sort of mentally as well?
Yeah, 100%. Like it's not always been like that. And I think there's so much false information online of like what to do to keep fit and things like that. And you can be so easily misled. And I've definitely been a victim of that in the past. But yeah, I've been working with I have an online coach and she's great. I've been working with her since last year. Like and yeah, like it sounds so dramatic, but she's literally just turned my life around. Like I went from believing all of this like crap that's just not even true about like what you're supposed to do to stay healthy, and like yeah, just I've started just completely changing the way I train, and I train like 4 or 5 days a week now, and I just love it. I love
Mm.
it.
Yeah, I find it the same as well. I'll do it, and it's again, it's just that it's a place to go and almost switch off from everything else as well.
Yeah,
So again, it's as much as it is the physical side. I think the sort of mental side, it does really help,
yeah,
especially over the last year as well. I think it's definitely helped with
yeah.
that.
Definitely. It's just like I always try to take like the first hour out of my morning. I love training in the mornings. It just really like gets me set up for the day. And yeah, I just think it's really important. It's just that 1 hour in the morning that you have for you, and you don't have any of the distractions like you say. And it's not always about like looking great, you know, although we have this picture and like I'm so happy with my like the way I look in it and my figure and whatever, but it's not always about that. Like I can look at that picture and I think, you know what, I genuinely just felt good about myself there. And you know, it's not whether you have abs or this or that or the other. Like it's all about how you feel, 100%.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. Um,
Yeah.
so when you're on a shoot, is there any? Do you have any like kind of preferences when shooting? Is there any sort of stuff you say from like the like photographer? Do you like a certain amount of direction? Is there anything you kind of anything that with a shoot you there's certain stuff that you really like?
I'm pretty easygoing when it comes to stuff like this. I think I do like having a bit of direction, or like I love when we get like a mood board or something. Like typically, obviously, you know that we like when we shoot together, we always have a mood board or something,
Yeah,
just so we sort of know what lines we're going across. But yeah, I've done shoots in the past where um like there's just been literally no direction. Like I shot with this woman, she was so lovely, but I didn't think she'd ever really worked with like a model before. And I went and I was like, oh, so like what type of like shots are you looking for and things, because it was a job. Like I was doing what she wanted. It wasn't like it was a test where, you know, it's kind of like both of you pitching in ideas. So I said to her, I was like, oh, like is there anything particular that you want? And yeah, I just got like completely zero direction, which is obviously fine. And she was just like, oh, just sort of do what you want. And I was like, it's not, I don't really know what to do. And I was still pretty new to modeling at this point as well. So it was kind of a bit of a difficult one, because I wanted to make sure I got pictures that she liked, but then she didn't really tell me what she liked. So yeah, I think it's important to have a little bit of direction, just so you make sure you're sort of fulfilling what somebody wants. But it's nice to be able to sort of do your own thing at the same time. I think there's a bit of a balance there.
Yeah, you want a bit of, it's a kind of two-way thing, especially between like the model and photographer. You want a bit of both giving kind of their own stuff. You don't want it to just be one person things or nothing at all. You both want to bring something to it.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of leads me, actually, one of the things I was going to mention is I was going to talk about sort of say like my experience with shooting, because we've done a couple of shoots now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, especially with, I think the first one we did was a couple of years ago, and then we did one earlier this year as well. And I mean, what personally I noticed, I noticed a difference while with, say, the sort of, especially with the last shoot we did, I really liked the sort of range that you brought to it, like even the sort of expressions, like some of the facial expressions, some of the emotions. And that was something, I know we'd had sort of some of the stuff like the inspo on like the mood boards and everything. But yeah, that was something that really jumped out to me, because it was something something where you were kind of bringing your side to it. And there are shoots sometimes when you're shooting for model, and it's very kind of one look, one sort of expression.
Yeah.
So is that something, again, do you feel like you've kind of noticed yourself develop that with the modeling as well, that you've kind of brought this range to it?
Yeah, I think so. I think you kind of pick up on things, you know, sometimes where you do shoots, like, again, when you're starting out and you just have no idea what you're doing, and you just think, like, does this look good? And you just sort of like throw different things, like hope for the best. But yeah, you just pick up on things like knowing your angles. Like, a lot of the time people always say chin down, Emma, put your chin down. Don't know why I have this tendency to have my chin up and the chin down. So just like immediately I will always correct myself and be like, right, put your chin down. And just, yeah, like, I don't know. I think it just, yeah, it's just one of them things. It's like practice makes perfect. And like you say, when you have a mood board and you can kind of bring your own style, and I think it's honestly just about trial and error and just going for it. Like, so like you say, some of the faces I did when we were shooting, if I like did that a couple of years ago, I would have been like way too afraid to do that. I would have been like, no, I look so stupid. But it's just one of them things. Like, I think it's important as well, like feeling comfortable with the photographer. Like, I shot with you before, like you're literally so sound, and I knew that if, you know, you're just somebody who I could try things with, and like if it didn't look good, you can just be like, maybe don't try that, or like maybe do this instead. And like, it doesn't have to be like, you know, something to be embarrassed about. Like, it's just trial and error. You know, you never know unless you try. So you might as well go for it. And then if it looks crap, then we just move on and we don't do the same pose again.
Well, no, yeah, I mean, they came out great, especially like say like the ones with I mean, that was just something you brought yourself, when like with the blazer, with the jacket. It was like the face you did with that, but I think it was just, I just kind of noticed it as, it's probably like a confidence thing. And like you say, the more confident you are, and obviously the more you've been shooting, like you say, you're kind of not afraid to do that, do some stuff like that, and then to kind of look at it and be like I say, if it doesn't work, you've got that confidence to be like, oh, fine, we'll try something else.
Yeah, I just think you have to own it regardless. Like, if I just did that and you were just like, what are you doing? I'll be like, honestly, I don't know.
I don't think I'd ever do that. I think I'd do like, I'd much rather that, the model sort of trying stuff like that and going for something and trying something different kind of expressions, definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll go on to the third image, which is I think it's the beauty one.
The shower one.
It's the one, yeah, where you're holding the product up.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so this was, who was this one for?
This was a job, actually. This was for a brand called Beauty Laundrette that we're launching through Superdrug. And it was one of my big campaigns, actually. And I didn't realize how sort of big the job was when I booked it. I was just like, oh, like this brand or whatever. Like, I just thought it was this small, like, independent brand, but I didn't realize it was going to be in Superdrug and things. And yeah, this was a really good shoot as well. And again, like, it's kind of funny because this one, obviously, like minimal clothing because I'm pretending to be in the shower,
Mhm.
but it wasn't about it being sexy. It was more about like, you know, just like self-love, and it wasn't meant to be provocative. It was just meant to be like really nice products. And I shot with 3 other women who were all amazing to work with as well. And it was, I'm pretty sure we were all female team. I can't quite remember because it was quite a while ago, but yeah, it was just such a lovely shoot. And it was like, I'm always down for anything that's fun, you know, like getting your hair soaking wet and yeah, just like putting foam everywhere. It was great.
So what's it like when you're doing sort of beauty products again? Is there a different kind of way you go about stuff, or so I know you mentioned about there's a lot more focus on the product.
Yeah, yeah. So it's that thing, isn't it, where it's like it's not always about like my look, and it's not always about you, like, but it's not always about you. You have to show the product, and like especially when you're working with products, you have to be really conscious of making sure the branding's being shown, making sure it's being held right. And like, to be honest, the bottle is like way more of a priority than what I'm doing, pretty much, because you're not selling me, you're selling the shower gel, aren't you? So yeah, again, it's super important that the product is the main thing with jobs like that.
And do you like doing sort of beauty stuff, beauty products and everything? Because I know you've done a few of them now.
Yeah, beauty is probably one of my main types of shooting that I do. It's just the main thing that I end up doing, which I love. And yeah, sometimes beauty isn't always about like the product. Sometimes it's just like a product that you're wearing. Maybe if it's like a lip color, so then it does become more about like your face instead of like holding a physical thing. But yeah, I don't know. I'm down for anything. Me, like I like it. I like showing off products. I think it's fun.
But they always seem like sort of fun shoots as well, and they're always a bit more smiley, and so I
Yeah,
guess that helps as well.
yeah, it can bring some energy.
Um, right, the next one is an older one, I think. So this is the one with the yellow top on,
Hmm.
and that was with Rob Walker, I think was the photographer, and Leah
Yeah.
Clary is the makeup artist. So yeah, again, so this one was this. This looks more like, was this an indoor like sort of studio one?
Yeah, so this was actually at J'ador's headquarters. I don't know if you've ever actually been, but it's
Yeah.
just in Manchester, about 2 doors down from the office. And yeah, I think I was going through a bit of a struggle with my book at the time. I remember I found it so hard to find my own style, and I think J'ador really sort of noticed that. Like, I do just shoot after shoot, and they were like, you need to work on your book. And I just end up saying yes to testing with anyone because I just think they need more pictures, they need more pictures. And I'd end up just shooting for the sake of it, or just not really thinking properly about what my style was. And this was probably one of the first shoots I did where I looked at the picture and I thought, yeah, like, I think I'm going up the right street here, like finally sort of getting my own sort of style. And yeah, so I went into the J'ador office with Rob, and we all just sat down in this room and we were looking at mood boards, and they were like, look at this picture. And it was a picture quite similar. And they were like, look at this girl. They were like, right, just go off this and like just stay sort of this sort of style. And like, again, a lot of the shoots that I'd done, my hair, you know, my hair, it's pin straight. It just doesn't like want to be any other way. I say that it's curly right now, but usually it's been straight. And they were like, just mess it up a little bit, like tie it up, and let's do like a nice bold like red lip and get something different, something interesting. So yeah, like that was like a big motivation for me, because like the girls at J'ador just made me feel so motivated to really like get some really good shots and not just shooting for the sake of shooting. So yeah, I was so happy with the outcome of these ones.
Do you find, I mean, especially in those early days, like say when you're, is that something sort of like testing a lot and working with different people, and then do you find that's kind of natural thing that, especially like as a model, should do, like just going off and testing loads and then start homing it in, or do you reckon that's something, it's obviously tricky to do earlier on to try and sort of know your style and know who you want to shoot with?
Yeah, like I don't know. I think again, like nowadays, it's probably a lot different. You know, like now Shadora have just expanded so much. Like they have photographers who are sort of like their go-tos, and a lot of them are like proper professionals and stuff, whereas when I started it was more of like a exchange for pictures type thing. And I'd shoot with like literally everyone, like students, just people who were like, I don't know, just fancy shooting with me. And I think I was a bit intimidated by it all at the start. Like I was only young and I just thought I need to impress them. Like that was my main thing. I was like, what if they hate me? Like what if they think I'm not putting the effort in? So I would just kind of say yes to everyone to make it show that I'm like wanting to try and like put in effort and stuff. But yeah, like, I don't know. I just think everyone's experience is so different. Some people might start out and just be like, right, can you just tell me who to shoot with? And that's that. Whereas I really wanted to sort of like take things into my own hands. And like, again, it was like wanting to impress them. I wanted to show some responsibility and be like, oh, like, you know, I've contacted this person, or like this person on Instagram's contacted me, and like, we're going to organize a shoot type thing. But yeah, and again, I think like not knowing your own style is linked in with that. So you just kind of agree to do whatever just to try and like figure out what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And yeah, like I think, like I say, I just found it so hard to find my feet at the start, like really hard.
Well, I think that's one of the best things. I mean, it's similar from the photography side as well. I mean, when I was starting and building up the confidence, I'd say it's definitely kind of one of those things of good advice, especially starting out. It's, if, I mean, say everyone's different. Some people straight into it, straight, like really confident, know what they're doing, know that what to work with. But if you are a bit more, if you sort of, you are lacking a bit of confidence, or it's that kind of thing at starting, I think, like I say, just kind of the best advice is just kind of getting out and doing it. The worst is to sort of to feel like that and then not do it. I think like I said, the best thing is actually just getting out there, because the more you do, it just, you start getting used to it a bit, you start getting a bit more confident, and you kind of notice over time that like, let's say the best way is just to sort of delve straight into it, really dive into the deep end.
Yeah, and you meet so many amazing people. Like I'll never regret shooting with anybody at all, because even if I shot with somebody and I thought the pictures are just nothing how I planned on them turning out to be, through no fault of anyone else's, me probably just posing like in the complete wrong way or something. But I never regret a shoot, because you know, you still have that experience of, you know, learning what works and what doesn't. And it again, like, it's not always about the pictures, it's about meeting people and hearing different backstories. Like, I feel like I'm quite a people person, so even shooting with students who may have done one photo shoot in their entire life, or I could have been their first ever photo shoot, you know, it's still an experience at the end of the day, isn't it? So
yeah, well, that's a great way to look at it. Like I said, there's always something you can draw out of it and take. And again, like I say, even if it is a terrible shoot and it's like negative, it's something you can take out of it and be like, okay, I know from yourself as well, like, I know what to do next time, what not to do, kind of who to work with and that. So yeah, that's a good way to look at it. There's always something positive to take out of it. Do you have a dream shoot? Is there anything, a sort of like a certain brand or a certain style or anything you want to shoot?
Oh gosh,
Putting you on the spot there.
I don't know. Like, I would love to shoot abroad. Like, I'd love to do like a campaign. I see, like, you know, have like a sick location, even if I go like shoot for North Face in the mountains or something. Like, I don't even know what. I mean, a lot of the time people just use green screens now. But if I could shoot abroad, that would be so fun. Or I don't know, like, I love so many brands. I love Weekday. They're such a cool brand. Again, it's like, I don't think they particularly do like a lot of campaign stuff, but I love working with brands that are like sustainable, and like, it's always nice. Again, like shooting for a vintage company yesterday, like, I love that, because I love, you know, the idea of being sustainable and things. So if a brand sort of links to your own values, that's always cool. But I don't know, again, like, I love working with various different brands, but for me it's just having a good team and having nice people. Like, I could work for a brand that's literally just started out, and you know, I don't think it's always about like the name. I think it's about who you work with as well as that. So but yeah, I don't know, dream job, probably a shoot abroad. I don't care who it is for, just a shoot abroad.
So it's more about like say the experience and That's the kind of the real sort of take out of it, basically.
Yeah.
Is there any sort of well, we kind of mentioned at the start, but creators you've kind of like loved working with?
Oh.
I know you mentioned like with Stefan as well.
Yeah, Steph obviously is up there. I love, like, this sounds like I'm kissing up to you, but our shoots are always like really good fun, even when I'm an hour late. But situation.
It worked out great, so I don't mind.
You know what, mate? That is the first, and it will be the last time I'm late to a shoot. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, like, again, like, just getting along with the right people, it's great. I loved my shoot with North Face. Shot that when I was like 18, but the team were just so fun. And everyone was just so sound. I'm trying to think of like particular creatives, but
you have like, say, like sort of makeup artists or stylists. I mean, and it's kind of more from a photographer side. Normally you have sort of, definitely you have like sort of teams that you like working with, and
yeah,
they do tend to get to sort of pick the team a bit more. But is there kind of stylist or makeup artist or anything like that that you do tend to like working with more?
yeah. I worked with, you know, Corinne.
Yeah.
She's signed to Door as well. She's lovely. Worked with her for a few times. She's amazing. I shot with this makeup artist called Lydia a couple of years ago, and the photographer was called Alice. I believe her surname is Webb. I might have to double check that, but me, Lydia, and Alice, that was so fun. Like, Alice has like the most relaxing voice ever. She was a photographer, right? And she was like so calm. And I said to her, I was like, you need to work in a spa or something, mate. Like, your voice is just so relaxing. And it was like a proper beauty shoot, you know, like nice like placements, like all cool, calm and collected. And me and Lydia just got on like a house on fire. And for one of the shoots, we needed like wind in my hair. So Lydia had like a leaf blower, but like it was so hard to stay calm because like Alice was being so cool, calm and collected, like, okay, like, maybe put your arm here. And I was sat there trying not to piss myself while Lydia has this leaf blower like right at my face. And it was just, yeah, it was the funniest shoot ever. And
was it like one of those really powerful ones? Because sometimes the temperature, like the power, you try and do it.
It's just the noise of it as well. Like, if you like, obviously, you know me, I find it so hard to give a straight face sometimes. Just laugh at everything. But yeah, she was so sound. I love Lydia. And there's also another makeup artist called Charlie who I worked with a few times, and she was lovely as well. But again, like, I've been so lucky. I don't think I've ever really worked with like a bad team, really. Everyone's just been so nice.
Yeah, oh, that's great. That's nice. So yeah, like last image, it's the group one. So there's this one's for another. This was another beauty company, wasn't it?
Yeah, so this was for a woman called Holly who was setting up her own brand called We Are Mimi. And I wasn't actually sure what it was for at first, but it's like her own beauty salon. I think it's in like Birmingham or somewhere in the Midlands, like down southish. But this shoot was just for like images on like her shop windows and like around her sort of studio type thing. But this was a really good shoot, and I was really excited for this one because the girl with the short blonde hair, Raya, she's signed to Door, and literally like the week before we got speaking on Instagram. And we just clicked straight away, like became such good friends. And then like a couple of days later, I got an email and like I saw the call sheet and her name was on it. And I was like, mate, I was like, we're shooting together like next week. And she was like, no way. Like it was just such a coincidence how we became like such close friends, like really fast. And then we had a job together the week after. So that was so fun. But yeah, like all the girls were really nice. That was an all-female team as well. And yeah, it was great.
Do you find like sort of doing group stuff? Obviously, like say that with like Ray, you kind of chatted to before, but did you know any of the other girls before? Like with group stuff, do you kind of quickly get on, or is that?
I think it's kind of hard at first to get chatting to everyone because when you walk in, like, well, when I walked in anyways, like some people are in makeup, some people are getting their nails done. So it's not like you can walk in and be like, hi, everyone. And then like you all sit down and have a conversation and get to know each other. It's kind of like you sort of get to know people throughout the day, but then like you have to go off and get your makeup done and then somebody else comes along. So it's a bit like mismatch, but yeah, like I think to anyone else, it'd be quite strange that like, obviously that shot right there, it doesn't look it, but in person, having those people so close to you, it doesn't feel like natural.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like all these strangers that like everyone has to get like so close together to like make it look like a good shot. And you've literally had like one conversation with everybody, but yeah, everyone again was just so lovely. And like I just think it's nice when you sort of bounce off each other really easily, and yeah, it just makes it easier to shoot when everyone's just so nice.
Yeah,
So.
do you think that's something, because like you say, I mean, you might get like with a group shot like that, especially there's 6 of you there, so I think, say you got some of you going in getting makeup, maybe doing some like single shots first, so that might be the first time you're all together, is literally on set ready for that shot when you're all together. Do you think it's something like, as a model, do you think it's a kind of thing that you have to have that about your personality, that you have to be sort of really kind of like easy to get on without going, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, it just makes life easier, isn't it? Like if you're easy to get along with, then like it just makes everything easier, doesn't it? I mean, yeah, I just think all you can be is yourself. Like that's the only, like if I was to give anyone advice, it'd just be yourself, because you just end up clicking with people a lot quicker than you actually think. Like I think there's this whole like initial intimidation, especially when you're first getting into the industry. Like I remember my first sort of group shoot, I'm trying to remember what it was for. I think it was for Mark Hill hair. We shot an advert, and I think all of us were signed to Jador. I'm like some of the girls aren't with them anymore. I think they sort of went off and did their own things, but I remember showing up and I was like, oh my God, like all these girls, like they're like probably so much more experienced than I am and whatever, but like it's never as intimidating as what you think. And I just think, like I say, like when everyone's nice, it just makes it flow so much easier, and you can end up like bringing good energy on set, and I like end up getting some really sick photos.
Do you get a chance to meet, say like with Jador and stuff? And because I know sometimes speaking to models, they'll kind of mention there's some other girls who are like from the same age, they never kind of meet. Do you get a chance to kind of, because obviously you'll go in at different times into the off, like into the sort of Jador's office or anything. Do you get a chance to kind of meet a lot of the other models?
Well, we have like agency parties where you can kind of get to know people, but yeah, I don't know. A lot of the time, like my closest friends who I'm friends with from Jador are just people who I've either met at casting or like met on a job, or even just through Instagram. Like you just end up replying to people's stories or whatever, and or like people message you like, oh hey, like I love this shot, who did you work with? And you just end up talking to them. And like I'm quite chatty, like I could talk to people for hours. So yeah, like you can either meet people at parties or whatever. I mean, most of the time people are a bit drunk. Yeah, you end up becoming really close friends with some people. Like I don't know if, have you worked with Enya Barton? She's with Jador, she's lovely, I've known her for years.
Yet, no.
Pyle Maestri, she's one of my best friends as well. Like I just end up hanging out with them outside of work, and yeah, like, but I think it is hard, like when you first join an agency and like it seems like everyone knows everyone, when in actual fact everyone just knows everyone from Instagram, not like in real life. So
well, I was going to say that, I mean, especially now that like there is that, which makes it easier. Do you think it's something that, I don't know, with the agencies, it's something, especially maybe like as you, when you're getting started with the agency, it's something they could try and introduce more or something? Do you think it's something that could help, like if they did more sort of, I know you say they do the parties, but that might be like not so often. Is there something they could do to introduce a bit more kind of like group meetings and stuff like that?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It depends really. I think parties are kind of the best way to do it, because like it's just like less pressure. Like I feel like if you had like a scenario where it's like, okay, you're all going to meet each other now, it's a bit like planned. Like it's like, okay, I'm gonna have to go and make friends with everyone, and like this is how it should go. Like I just think it's more natural if like have a party and you just show up and you just think, oh, I'll have a drink, you know, like I'll talk to you, like tell me about you. Like it's just, I think it's a lot more laid back, but yeah, it's a shame they can't happen as often, because it
Yeah.
is really fun getting to know new people. And it's great, like the amount of people, again, like yesterday, this girl called Gabrielle was shooting with me, and I followed her on Instagram for like 3 years. And I met her in person, and I was like, she's like, so nice to meet you in person. And I was like, I know, literally, like it's just the case with everyone. I'm like, I only know you through Instagram. So yeah, hopefully we have an actual party this year if Corona stays on our side.
Yeah, well, it might be an excuse for more parties as well. So there you go, more chance for like drinking.
Definitely.
And yeah, I mean, just to finish on, in terms of sort of looking forward, and is the saying about like things open up a bit more, and that is, how's it kind of looking for like the sort of future? And is this, I mean, we've mentioned about the sort of the dream shoots and that, but are you gonna carry on with the modeling alongside the acting the way you've been doing it so far?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I'm still at uni, so I'm in my final year. So when I leave uni, if I have the opportunity to go full time, I probably will try that out. But yeah, like there's a few things in the pipeline maybe, but I don't know, try not to get my hopes up too much. I feel like there's this fine line between manifesting something happening and getting your hopes up. So I'm trying to sort of like do this awkward in between. But yeah, I've had a few conversations with Jador recently, and there's a few sort of interesting things coming up. But I think for now, I just need to get through my last year of uni, survive that, and then I can put my 100% energy into my career and sort of see where it goes, and see if anything leads to a bit more acting stuff as well. So
yeah,
we'll see. You never know what the future holds.
well, no, fingers crossed, and yeah, like best of luck. You've been doing great so far. I mean, was it recently they've moved on to the main board as well? Was that recent?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I was so happy about that. Honestly, it takes a lot of work to get your way, like work your way up. So yeah, I was really happy about that.